Here is Clemson through the eyes of the Tiger as seen in the 2000s. John Potter began the 21st century as the number one Tiger during the 2000-2001 academic year. John earned a Bachelor of Science degree in ceramic engineering in 2001 and a Master of Business Administration degree in 2011 from the University of South Carolina. His hometown, Anderson, South Carolina. Here is John's story. It's amazing how you can be in the right or wrong place during any game. On this occasion, the Cub and I were right in the middle of all the action. We were playing the Seminoles in Bowden Bowl II in Tallahassee. My roommate, Jamie Somani, punted and pinned the Noles on their 1-yard line. Chris Winkie pulled the best play-action fake I've ever seen, and the best since Punt Ruski. The entire stadium thought the running back was stonewalled at the line of scrimmage, as Winkie was selling the fake with his back turned to the line of scrimmage. There we were, under the goalpost, and we saw the ball in Winkie's gut the entire time. He spun around and threw a 99-yard touchdown pass to receiver Snoop Menace. You don't win a national championship in 1999 or the Heisman Trophy in 2000 without luck and trick plays. Florida State and Winkie did both. Final score that day, number 4 Florida State 54, number 10 Clemson 7. There are two absolutely unforgettable catches in Clemson football history. The first catch was on November 19, 1977, when Clemson Hall of Fame wide receiver Jerry Butler made a falling backwards 20-yard catch for a touchdown. The pass from future Clemson Ring of Honor quarterback Steve Fuller to Butler gave the 15th-ranked Tigers a 31-27 win over the Gamecocks in Columbia, with just 49 seconds left in the game. The second catch took place almost 23 years later to the day on November 18th in 2000. I was standing on the Mike Mann platform on the southeast 10-yard line of Memorial Stadium. South Carolina was up 14-13 with 10 seconds to play. The Gamecock offensive coaches had already taken the elevators down to the field to celebrate what would have been their 36th win in the 98th game of the series. Clemson had the ball on their own 42-yard line when quarterback Woody Dantzler threw a 50-yard pass to the falling out-of-bounds wide receiver Ron Gardner at the 8-yard line. Gardner's catch in front of the second-largest crowd, 85,187 in this historic series, set up Clemson's 25-yard game-winning field goal by Aaron Hunt for their 59th win in a series that began in 1896. Those watching the game on a large screen outside the Esso Club said the crowd's roar sounded like a jet taking off when Gardner made that second catch. Final score, number 16 Clemson 16, number 25 South Carolina 14. Prior to the 2001 Gator Bowl, I had heard the pregame parade progressed around the city of Jacksonville, Florida. There's no way you can walk 3+ miles and then work a 3-hour football game. It was my lucky day when the pallbearer, a 1967 Cadillac Hearst, being driven by Jeff Herbert, came by where the cheerleaders and I were standing. The Herbert family owns the Boscobel Golf and Country Club in Pendleton. I jumped on the hood of the moving hearse as the parade was going up a hill. While executing this move, my tail got caught under the wheel and ripped off. I picked it up, and the cheerleaders handed me a roll of athletic tape. Then I jumped inside the car where Jim Sutherland made some quick repairs. After the parade, a sponsor for Tiger Band had a sewing kit, thus saving me from the wrath of the former mascots. The hearse has been parked along Centennial Boulevard since 1981. Stop by for a picture sometime. Final score, number 6 Virginia Tech 41, number 16 Clemson 20. The Carolina Panthers Top Cats performed in Littlejohn Coliseum at halftime of the North Carolina State game in 2001. Saturdays in January were and still are on-campus recruiting days for football. The Top Cats walk by recruits and their parents in the tunnel of the Coliseum. Don't know who the recruits were that day. However, here are some of the players who signed a letter of intent a month later. Roscoe Crosby, Maurice Fountain, Derek Hamilton, Leroy Hill, and two-sport athlete Aries Curry, football and track. Final score that day, Clemson 72, North Carolina State 69. Our next Tiger was Patrick Hitpas. Patrick was the number one Tiger during the 2001 through 2003 academic years. Patrick earned a Bachelor of Science degree in economics in 2013. His hometown is Andover, New Jersey. Here is Patrick's story. There are days in everyone's life when you do not forget where you were at a particular moment. On September 11, 2001, the world stopped as terrorists launched attacks against our country. Athletic events were canceled all over the country. The Clemson-Duke football game was moved to December. Clemson's first opponent after 9/11 was home against Virginia on September 20th. The pregame ceremonies for the Virginia game consisted of a video message from Senator John McCain asking us to donate to the American Red Cross. The names of all those killed scrolled on the video board to Bette Midler's The Wind Beneath My Wings and Simon and Garfunkel's The Sounds of Silence. America the Beautiful, God Bless America, and the Star-Spangled Banner were sung by a joint university chorus. Where was I located? I was standing on top of the hill with an American flag. Everyone I spoke to during and after that game thought it was awesome that I ran the flag to midfield. Until this writing, no one ever knew I took the flag to every game in 2001 and still have it to this day. In the summer of 2002, I was sent to Los Angeles to film a commercial for Anheuser-Busch and the National Association of State Universities and Land-Grant Colleges about safe celebration following sporting events. The commercial showed a coach giving a team a pep talk about being safe as the camera panned around to the players and a group of mascots. Everyone knows there are too many reality television shows. Well, during the fall of 2002, a reality show that was fun to watch was ESPN's Beg, Borrow, and Deal. The show featured the one and only Clemson alumnus James Bubba Britton from Chester. So how do you get on a reality show? You're in an establishment across the street from Wrigley Field wearing a T-shirt from Sloan Street Tap Room, a Clemson business owned by Coach Frank Howard's son Jimmy, yelling at a friend with your southern accent when you're discovered. This book isn't about Bubba, so you'll have to Google the show. Bubba's team won the cross-country adventure, though. To celebrate the team's victory, Bubba and his teammates were invited to Death Valley to participate in one additional task, catching a 35-yard pass at halftime. They successfully caught the pass by former Clemson quarterback Rodney Williams on the first Thursday night game in Death Valley. Final score, number 12, North Carolina State 38, Clemson 6. Another important date was when the Tiger appeared at my wedding. My future wife, Megan Nutt, had no idea that Dan Licata would be in attendance in 2007. Our third Tiger in the 21st century was Brad Stoehr. Brad was the number one Tiger during the 2003-2005 academic years. Brad earned a Bachelor of Science degree in Financial Management in 2005 and a Master of Business Administration degree in 2009 from Queen's University. His hometown, Spartanburg, South Carolina. Here is his story. Legendary actor Jackie Gleason, also known as Ralph Cramden, in the sitcom The Honeymooners in the late 1950s, delivers one of the best lines of all time to his television wife, Alice. "One of these days, Alice, one of these days." Pow! Right in the kisser. "To the moon, Alice, to the moon." I felt like I was going straight to the moon, too, when I was selected as the Tiger. My Aunt Katie Stoehr, Maryland class of 1988, was Testudo, the Maryland student mascot, and she always told great stories about her time. So I wanted to join this elite group of students who have been their school's mascot. Part of our tryout is how we interact with the fans. There's usually a baseball game on the day of the tryouts. I think the reason I won the job is that there was a high school team from Michigan that annually attends a game while on spring break. Their coach grew up in Pendleton. The music came on over the loudspeaker, and I went over and started dancing with the team. The entire stadium turned and cheered us on. Thank you, Michigan. My first appearance was at the Clemson Bilo. I remember our advisor walking up and he gave me a big handshake. He then proceeded to take me by the snout and push me back and forth, telling me what to do and what not to do. Simple instructions. Be yourself. Be creative. Have fun. This appearance was followed up by attending a wedding at the Madron Center. I had only been the Tiger for a few weeks and had not remembered the code to the laundry room where the suit was kept. My girlfriend, Leslie Miller, who became my wife in 2007, volunteered to climb through the chute and into a pile of dirty laundry so that she could open the door from the inside. Needless to say, I had to buy her dinner at Pixie and Bill's with my earnings from the wedding. Final score that day, Clemson 40, Duke 7. Bowden Bowl 5 was held on Coach Bobby Bowden's birthday, a special day in anyone's life. Each previous Bowden Bowl had been an exciting game, win or lose. I made a sign that read, "Wishing you a happy 74th birthday," and a loss from Clemson. Go Tigers! It made it on ESPN that night. And final score was Clemson 26, number 3 Florida State 10. Do I hold any push-up records? Yes, I do. I hold the record for the most push-ups at an away night game, 315. That was in 2003. A couple of weeks later, I saw Coach Bowden, and he asked me about all the push-ups. I told him that I, along with probably 70,000 South Carolina fans, hated him for running up the score. He got a good laugh out of that. It's the one record I hope never gets broken unless we score 63 or more against the Gamecocks again. Final score, Clemson 63, South Carolina 17. There's nothing like beating the Gamecocks. But January 2, 2004 was a memorable night as the Tigers traveled to Atlanta and the Georgia Dome to play Tennessee in the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl. Being on the stage and looking over the crowd and up at the stands after the game gave me goosebumps. I still get them thinking about that sight today. Thank you, Clemson fans, for your support both at home and on the road. You make special memories for a lot of players, coaches, and in my case, the Tiger. Final score that night was Clemson 27, number 6 Tennessee 14. As good as 2003 and the beginning of 2004 were for any Clemson fans, 322 days later would be a black eye for Clemson and South Carolina fans. On November 19th, the Indiana Pacers and the Detroit Pistons were involved in a brawl at the Palace of Auburn Hills in Auburn Hills, Michigan, with a minute left in that basketball game. The next day, as the Tigers came running down the hill, their rivals were waiting for them in the end zone. If it hadn't been for the NBA brawl the previous night, many doubt that this copycat brawl would have happened. No need to go into detail other than it was Lou Holtz's last game as head coach of the Gamecocks, having gone 1-5 against Clemson. Final score, Clemson 29, South Carolina 7. Switching to the 2003-2004 basketball season, my mother, Kathy Stoehr, was attending her first game. The Tigers were playing the North Carolina Tar Heels. I'm not exactly sure what she was thinking, but she showed up in a perfect Carolina blue-colored sweater. She isn't a UNC graduate. I just think she liked the color. The first thing my advisor did after seeing her was to go and get a Clemson t-shirt and give it to her. He said, "Your son is the Tiger. You have to wear orange." She put the shirt on and wore it the entire game. After that, she always made sure to wear orange, just like fans do on Solid Orange Fridays or when attending an athletic event. Although not in the suit, I proposed to my future wife Leslie at a basketball game. I had the Tiger bring me the ring so I could give it to her as announcer Dale Gilbert brought the crowd's attention to where we were sitting. I'm glad she said yes. It was a better location than next to the laundry chute. Married in 2007, today we have 2 children, Stella Reese and Miller Patrick. Final score, Maryland 82, Clemson 66. While I never kept a letter of appreciation, I have a story that revolves around an appearance that I missed. I was booked for 2 events at the same time and didn't realize it, and I missed a child's birthday party. A year or so later, I was talking with a client, Brandon Cox, class of '96, telling him about how I was the Tiger. He asked me what year's, and then he told me that I missed his son Will's 3rd birthday. Well, to this day, Brandon is still my client, but he never lets me live it down. A true Clemson family. Brandon Little was the number one Tiger during the 2005 through 2007 academic years. The author was unable to reach Brandon for this book. Our next Tiger was Dan Licata. Dan was the number one Tiger during the 2007-2008 academic year. Dan earned a Bachelor of Science degree in secondary education in 2009. His hometown is Atco, New Jersey. Here is his story. How many times did I try out prior to being selected? None. I actually became the Tiger before tryouts. I had transferred to Clemson from Seton Hall University in South Orange, New Jersey, where I was the mascot, the Pirate. Every once in a while, a mascot burns out or may need to resign their position due to senior-level classes. This was the case when the current Tiger mascot resigned to concentrate on his degree. When spring came around, I tried out to be the official mascot. I had a great skit in which the Tiger needed to prove to his girlfriend, who had left him, that he still had the dance moves. I started dancing to Working at the Car Wash and Splish Splash. The dances were purposely bad. I had recorded a female friend of mine saying, "That's all you got? I'll give you one more chance, otherwise you need to go out with that chicken from Colombia." Wow. The next song I danced to was I'm Bringing Sexy Back, which impressed his girlfriend, followed by her response of, "Phew, you really are bringing sexy back." Then concluded with, "'Cause tonight, baby, I'm going to get freaky with you." Finding out I was selected equated to the feeling I would have a couple of years later when I got my first job as a teacher. After the skit comes the interview portion of the tryout. As a native of New Jersey, they asked me how I would react if someone called me a Yankee. In the costume, I would have ignored it. Out of the costume, I told them, "I'm a Met, not a Yankee," referring to being a fan of the New York Mets. Labor Day 2007 began with an appearance at the pregame concert by Tiger Band in the amphitheater. The crowd there was electric. It was 91 degrees, and I was like everyone else, going crazy. I never felt energy like that, or at least I thought so at the time. On the parade down to the stadium, I thought we were going to enter the stadium by the Rock. As the parade continued past the Rock, I realized I had miscalculated the entrance and we were going to walk all the way around the stadium. I almost vomited in the suit from heat exhaustion. Upon reaching the end of the parade route in the West End Zone, they informed me I had 40 minutes until kickoff. I almost cried, I was so happy, and immediately started drinking Gatorade. 30 minutes later, I was headed east behind the Clemson bench to the top of the hill. As the buses came around the north side of the stadium, my headgear began shaking. It was incredible. It was like standing on the deck of an aircraft carrier when an FA-18E Super Hornet takes off. After surviving the launch and cruising to a safe altitude around the 30-yard line, I turned around to look for number 96, Jermaine Martin. We had spoken a few days before the game and orchestrated a jumping chest pump and 3 hand slaps. We were on a collision course when he stopped, and we pulled off our pre-flight moves. The most exciting 25 seconds in college football are more than that. They last a lifetime. Final score, Clemson 24, number 19, Florida State 18. 7 weeks later, Central Michigan was in town for a noon game. I spent Friday night downtown with friends, figuring that the Tigers would have an easy time against the Chippewas. As the points piled up, so did the push-ups. Clemson had moved into the 21st century by having more than just one mascot work the games to prevent heat exhaustion. We switched every quarter. In the suit for the first quarter, I only had to do 7 push-ups. My backup was Corey Luckett. Corey had to do 98 push-ups in the second quarter after the Tigers scored 4 more touchdowns. A walk in the park. Don't know if we had in the first, second, or third-string players, but whoever they were made life rough for me in the third quarter, as the Tigers scored 4 more times. Sadat Chambers scored on a 63-yard run to give the Tigers 63 points. The crowd went wild watching my shaky attempt at 63 push-ups and a new record of 210 push-ups in the third quarter. Final score, Clemson 70, Central Michigan 14. When the soccer player turned place kicker Mark Buckholz hit the 35-yard field goal to beat the Gamecocks, I stormed the field to celebrate by running through those hedges in Columbia. The silence was deafening as the police escorted me through the home crowd. One fan lunged at me, but I stepped back, and as he passed in front of me, a little Jersey attitude was in Williams-Brice Stadium that night, as somehow my elbow was in the center of his back. Then I stepped over him and ran to the locker room. Final score, number 21 Clemson 23, South Carolina 21. The 2008 men's ACC basketball tournament in Charlotte, North Carolina was exciting. Coach Purnell's Tigers defeated Boston College 82-48, and then number 7 Duke 78-74, before losing to number 1 North Carolina 86-81 in the finals. The two wins punched the Tigers' ticket to the big dance and a trip the next week to the NCAA tournament in Tampa, Florida. The Tigers would lose their first-round matchup to the Villanova Wildcats 75-69 in Tampa. However, I'll never forget the emotion shown by Clemson's Cliff Hammonds after the game. He was devastated after the loss, along with many of my new friends in Tiger Band. It felt like 100 degrees for the 2008 First Friday Parade. The annual parade is from the President's House to historic Riggs Field and Dr. I.M. Ibrahim Stadium, named after former Clemson University President Walter Riggs and two-time national championship soccer coach Dr. I.M. Ibrahim, respectively. Getting to the stadium is easy. It's downhill, just like the RC and Moonpie downhill mile from the President's House to the Esso Club. Imagine what it was like to walk back through campus after the parade amongst hundreds of people who want your picture because you forgot to secure a ride back to your car. After graduating in 2009, I applied for a teaching position at Palmyra High School in Palmyra, New Jersey. Clemson and my student teaching at Pickens High School had prepared me for this moment. As I looked across the table, there sat the principal, vice principal, and the head of the guidance department. They asked me to tell them a little about myself. I mentioned my 3.9 GPA in secondary education, volunteer work and baseball coaching experience at Daniel High School in Central. When I concluded, the principal looked at me and said, "Well, that's all great, but do you know why we brought you in today?" I was puzzled until she pointed to the very bottom of my resume and asked, "Could you tell us a little bit more about this mascot experience?" I was floored. Her son was a high school mascot and wanted to continue as a college mascot. I was hired 2 days later. One of the most exciting days in any Clemson family life is the day the football schedule is released and you find out if your wedding day is during a home football game. If it is, you order televisions for the reception. Well, that was then, and now all you have to do is just look at your cell phone. Soon, it'll be just your watch. Former mascot Patrick Hitpas, 2001, got married in Vineland, New Jersey. His mother Joan had the athletic department send the suit north, and everyone got to dance the night away with the mascot. One of the best days of my life was getting engaged in July 2015 and married to Sarah Calhoun in 2016. Our final Tiger in the 2000s was Nolan Cole. Nolan was the number 1 Tiger during the 2008 through 2010 academic years. Nolan earned a Bachelor of Science degree in Electrical and Computer Engineering in 2010 and a Master of Engineering degree in Electrical Engineering in 2014 from the University of Idaho. His hometown, Asheville, North Carolina. Here is his story. We are all told that someone is always watching you. Doesn't matter how big the venue. It's way more than putting on a suit. It requires a natural skill set, something you can't teach. You need an instinctive, ridiculous side. Young kids will cry the first time they see the tiger because the parents didn't introduce their child to the tiger cub before the tiger. Kids like the cub's big shoes. When they get to be 3 or 4 years old, then they're ready for the main character. It's no different than Barney the Dinosaur or any of the kid shows on television. Dogs and cats don't get along. During a parade, I felt a warm sensation. I looked down to see a poodle treating my leg like a fire hydrant. These aren't complaints. They're just sacrifices that we make as we treat every appearance as if we were at a national championship game. We wear a tuxedo t-shirt to weddings. The entrance is planned for the bridal party introduction as everyone gets quiet, and then you hear Tiger Rag. At one wedding, after 2 hours, I was walking back to my changing room. A door opened to a large auditorium when a couple of high school kids grabbed me. All of a sudden, I was at a high school prom. On another occasion, I was told to sneak up on a Gamecock groomsman and hit him in the face with a pie. Not a plate of whipped cream, but a legitimate pie. The laughter created for some great pictures. The groomsman was a great sport. I guess it all depends on who wins the rivalry game. While attending the Welcome Back Festival in downtown Clemson, a fraternity had made a slip and slide on Bowman Field. Before I knew it, about 50 people were yelling for me. Well, when challenged, you have to accept. It was fun, but then I was covered with soap while still having to do my appearance. Everyone who hugged me for a picture said, "Ooh, the tiger is sweaty, but he smells nice." We're told to leave the field or court immediately at the end of the game, but we never listen. I was sweating so much it started dropping out of my mouth. This little girl in front of me got really scared and screamed, "Daddy, the tiger is drooling and he's going to eat me." There was no convincing her otherwise. Needing extra credits to graduate, I took classes in sign language and skeet shooting. The teacher who taught sign language mentioned that if you sign the national anthem before a baseball game, you'll get extra credit. I approached him after class and told him I was the tiger. Unlike Cocky, who wears 5-finger white gloves, ours are 4-finger paws. I was the only student to sign in the suit. Thanks for the extra credit. My best Halloween costume was when I dressed up as Quail Man for the Coastal Carolina game. I wore a green vest, large underwear, a belt around the top of my head, and a shirt with a red Q on the front. The people who didn't watch Nickelodeon didn't understand the costume, but it was great when the young kids and parents caught on and yelled, "Quail Man!" Have you ever been stuck to a wall? A furry suit and a Velcro wall at an elementary school field day do not go together. It took 2 men to pull me off that wall. After the appearance, I removed my head and started to unzip when I noticed a little girl who couldn't have been more than 6 years old looking straight at me through the window in the door. Next thing you know, her mom told her about the Easter Bunny, the Tooth Fairy, and a few other special characters. I guess all kids have to find out somehow. Multiple appearance days are interesting, especially when you fall asleep in the suit at your second event. I was at a car dealership with 8 cheerleaders when all of a sudden it started raining. There I was, out in the rain catching a few Z's. Next thing I knew, they gave me a nudge. "It's showtime." I played it off lying there, but I got my batteries recharged. Ever been to the Garrison Livestock Arena located across Highway 76 from Tri-County Technical College? I got invited to a rodeo where a former mascot, Pogue Reed, arranged to wear one of our extra suits while roping a calf on horseback. It was impressive. I was asked to go out in the middle of the arena and throw out T-shirts and footballs before they let out the bucking broncos. Well, suddenly I turned into a rodeo clown or one of the 3 stooges who couldn't climb over the fence. End of my rodeo days. My dad, Rex, and older brother, Brody, attended the Mascot Bowl during halftime of the Carolina Panthers-Miami Dolphins game. During the 15-minute game, I broke loose for a long run. Brody was running step for step with me along the sideline. The goal line was in sight when the Charlotte Bobcat ran me down with a tackle that knocked off my headgear. Suddenly, the Charlotte 49er jumped on top of me to protect my identity as the Campbell University Camel retrieved my headgear. Just like the mystery of who is Superman or Batman, my mascot fraternity protected my identity from the front page of the Charlotte Observer. Parents are great, especially when your dad is a beekeeper and we're playing Georgia Tech. Dad helped me make a beekeeper's veil for my headgear and gave me his bee smoker. Both a crowd favorite for a proud father. Thanks, Dad. The only time mascots ever see the golf course is during charity events. Prior to the January 1st, 2009 Gator Bowl against Nebraska, I did a promotional video for the game at the Players Stadium course at TPC Sawgrass in Jacksonville, Florida. We all know about Amen Corner and the 12th green at the Augusta National Golf Club. However, the 17th Island Green at TPC Sawgrass is one of the hardest greens to hit. Ask some former Clemson golfers: Jonathan Bird, Danny Ellis, Lucas Glover, Dillard Pruitt, Clarence Rose, DJ Trahan, and Charles Warren, just to name a few. My ball ended up just like all those golf balls Kevin Costner hit in the water in the Tin Cup before finally making the green. Hitting and staying on the 12th or 17th green are the biggest reliefs in golf. Another challenge I accepted was prior to a basketball game at the ROTC pull-up contest. The leader had done 16, and I knew I could beat that total. I stuck my chest out and strutted up in front of the line. As I started, I realized I didn't take into account the heavy suit and furry gloves. Needless to say, I got dogged by the crowd, but it got everyone pumped up for a good recruiting cause. Maybe I should just stick to push-ups. Hoorah! Each year, either on or close to Valentine's Day, the Rally Cats do a halftime dance with their boyfriend or a male friend. Like previous years, the Tiger is not invited to be a partner, which is disappointing. On this night in 2008, Aaron Andrews was the sideline reporter. I approached Aaron wearing my tuxedo T-shirt, holding a dozen roses and a sign in my hand that said, "Aaron, will you be my Valentine?" We've been sweethearts ever since.